Listen, we all have our tech hot takes. From people saying that Windows is better than Linux or how TikTok is better than YouTube. And some people even suggesting that Apple products are quote unquote too cheap. Well, today I want to go over 5 of my personal tech hot takes. Let's get started, and maybe in the comments you can change my mind on some of these hot takes. So let's get into it. RGB makes modern PC builds look ugly. Okay, I'm starting off strong by calling out you guys who buy RGB fans, RGB CPU coolers, RGB RAM, and even RGB mouse pads? Seriously? Do people actually buy this stuff? But really, why do I hate RGB? I mean, it's scientifically proven that RGB gives you more FPS, right?
You sure about that?
Well, actually, my main issue with RGB is that most people just leave it on by default. That is, they just have the color cycling mode or whatever it's called and just call it a day. There's nothing wrong with that, but that just means that your build looks exactly like somebody else's build. It not only makes most PCs more generic, but it also kind of ruins the aspect of RGB, and that's customization. I'm a big fan of setting one color and have it match perhaps some of my PC components and things like that. That way the build looks a lot sleeker and not like a pukey rainbow mess. But hey, I get it, RGB is flashy and it's appealing to the perhaps younger audience. As I've gotten older though, I started to really appreciate minimalism, and my current PC is literally mostly black with no lights at all. My fans have no LEDs, my motherboard has no LEDs, and the only thing that has some kind of RGB is GPU, which I've disabled the lights on it anyway. So that's my first hot take. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Artificial intelligence isn't as revolutionary as many people think it is. Honestly, I'm not sure how much of a hot take this really is, because there are a good amount of people who also aren't big fans of AI just like me. But whenever I hear talks about how AI will change everything, I kind of cringe because it's not really the case. Okay, so here's where I used AI personally for my YouTube videos. I would actually enter the first introductory part of my video script and ask ChatGPT to generate me a few YouTube titles based on that script. And it would do that to a varying degree of success. But I later realized that while those titles were decent, they kind of lacked, how should I say it, the human aspect. Same goes for image generation. Sure, you can generate images of things and they can honestly look pretty damn good and convincing if you ignore, the finger situation. But simply put, most AI created things just lack inspiration and can sometimes look off and give a generic or boring sort of vibe. Now, that's not to say that AI is useless or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It has clearly been a game changer for many industries, and personally, I think Photoshop's AI background removal tool is absolutely awesome and helps me make more videos. And I've even read how AI can seriously help with app development and coding specifically, like QA testing, which can speed up things like app updates and making overall software more stable and bug-free, which, that's pretty good. Beyond that, I think AI lacks definition. Like, you got smart fridges out there being advertised as AI powered just because it has like 2 extra features that have nothing to do with AI. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Recent smartphone designs are just simply not good. All right, so who's watching this video and doesn't have a phone case? Anyone? Anyone at all? Okay, who am I kidding? Everyone has a freaking phone case. Your dad has a phone case. Your mom has a phone case. Heck, your dog has a freaking phone case, right? But why? Why? Because let's be honest, phones, where's my phone? Phones can easily scratch if you don't have a phone case. And that's just a simple fact. So what do? You attach this piece of plastic to your phone and yeah, it protects your phone from scratches. But know what else it does? It hides that beautiful glass finish that some designer at Apple or Samsung spent countless hours perfecting. My hot take is really split into 2 parts, where on one hand, I'm upset that this is kind of a reality where we're kind of forced to put a case on a phone because otherwise they're either too slippery or scratch too easily. But on the other hand, I'm also kind of angry because phones phone designers make their phones less durable and have huge camera bumps that make putting a case actually all the more necessary. I really miss having my OnePlus One, which I thought was like a legendary phone. I thought that the design on that phone was nice. It had a sandstone sort of gritty, almost sandpaper type finish that would be really satisfying to touch, and it would be non-slippery. That was one of the phones where I thought, dude, I don't need a phone case. This design is awesome. And speaking of phones, let's move on to the next hot take, which is foldable phones will never become mainstream. But why? Obviously, right now, as of making of this video, they are quite pricey, like really pricey. And yes, I do expect that this will be a non-issue after maybe 5 years or so when, manufacturing becomes a bit cheaper. But the whole concept of a foldable phone just doesn't excite me. Of course, if you had a Nintendo DS, you'll disagree. However, besides the obvious price and durability issues, which are a real problem, anything with a hinge will break at some point. Just ask our 2008 HP laptop here. But even beyond that, even if foldable phones fix all of that stuff like pricing and durability, my main issue with them is that I don't want a foldable phone.
No, don't like that.
I don't want to, take my phone out and then have to use my other hand to unfold it just so I can check my messages or text a friend or something. And who knows, maybe after a decade, the regular phones like, this one will kind of become like an iPhone mini where it will be like a phone for those who missed the days where phones were, simpler and smaller and stuff. But yeah, personally, I don't see that happening. Even small stuff annoys me, like how the dust from your pocket gets into the crease of your foldable phone. I don't see it taking off. But you know what will take off? Your internet security after getting Surfshark. Not only does Surfshark 1 get you a VPN, which will change your online location, it will also come with an antivirus to keep pesky malware and viruses away. On top of that, you will also get access to Alternative ID, which will let you sign up on websites and apps without using any of your real information. Use the first link in the description or use the code SharkTube to grab yourself an awesome deal. And on top of that, get 2 months for absolutely free. Okay, back to the video. Gaming consoles like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have been very underwhelming. Say whatever you want, but this console generation has been rather lacking in terms of excitement that we saw with the previous gen consoles, like your PS2s and your PS3s and Xbox 360s and things like that. And don't get me wrong, we've been getting some really awesome games lately, but when it comes to first party stuff, it's been kind of meh. Let's start with the PS5, which does have the most console-only exclusive games that can only be played on that console. And sure, you got your big bangers like your Spider-Mans and God of Wars and Demon's Souls and many others. On the other hand, you have Microsoft's Xbox Series X, which has been struggling sales-wise, trailing PS5 3-1 or something like that. And that's probably because Xbox, unlike the PS5, has almost zero console exclusives, since all Xbox first-party games release on PC as well. Now, before you grab your pitchforks and roast me in the comments about how stupid I am, let me say that I do understand the business side of things. Making consoles is very, and I should really emphasize, very expensive. You gotta design the hardware, you gotta design the marketing, and a lot of things go into it. Matter of fact, consoles are usually sold at a loss, hoping that customers will stick around for the games and software long term. With the rise of PC gaming, Microsoft and Sony have started to help alleviate this issue by releasing their games on both console and PC, helping them sell more games overall. But call me old school or whatever, now that there are less console exclusives, less than ever before, and games becoming super difficult to develop. Spider-Man 2 apparently cost $300 million to create, which is crazy. This makes modern day consoles really underwhelming in terms of excitement. And again, maybe it's just me, and that's really my hot take. And that probably also comes from the fact that, also gaming graphics have kind of stagnated. We'll probably never see like a huge graphical jump that we did with something like going from PS1 to like a PS2 and things like that. But all that culminates in, again, consoles becoming less exciting. And also, I have a bonus hot take. Windows Vista, the OS that was smashed to bits when it came out, with people saying that it's the worst operating system ever created? Yeah, well, go watch this video next where I go over some of the reasons why I think Windows Vista was actually pretty good and maybe in some ways ahead of its time. I'll see you guys in that video, but for now, have a good one and take care.